For this month's blog topic, we decided to write about abortion. And I know it's such a polarizing issue, and I thought that maybe if we shared our stories as women, that we could humanize this issue and make you understand why bodily autonomy is just an absolute proposition.
Yes, yes. And the posts were so varied and interesting. We'll start out with Grace. Her one liner: pregnancy can be a natural process until it goes horribly wrong. I have had friends face the terror and pain of this life threatening experience.
And she's a nurse, a
Yes,
retired nurse. And I love that perspective of what it was like to watch women go through this process because pregnancy, you are risking your life
yes.
and you need medical support. And already 6 women have died in this country because they were denied a DNC to clean out their uterus when they started to miscarry. So this is real. And I thought it was to get her perspective on this was
Mhm.
really the perfect moment because it gives you an understanding of what it's like to be a medical professional.
Yes, and she's also in Canada, so that gives another perspective as well. Yeah, her blog post, she's a great writer, she gets right to the point, yeah, and she speaks very well to this topic. The next one is from Lincoln, and I love, as always, Lincoln's writing. She tells such a great story. Here's her quote: "The wisdom that came to me in the soft, quiet space after grieving was that our rightful place as those with uteruses is knowing that we are the threshold of life and that this position is one of inherent power, wonder, and responsibility that deserves reverence."
Yes, I felt that way. I'm like, where are the monuments to motherhood?
Mhm.
Or monuments, because in this story, Lincoln was trying to get pregnant. She was doing artificial insemination and it didn't work. And then she looked into fostering. And we never think of that.
Yeah.
The women trying to become mothers, the women who just, have their children, but really, where is that role esteemed within the culture?
Yes, 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 yes. And I love too, at the beginning of Lincoln's piece, she talked about having an abortion when she was a young woman. And because of Roe v. Wade, what a difference that made for her. And that she had a choice, intentional motherhood, so important.
She had access to pain medication,
Mhm,
she had counseling, if she wasn't shamed.
mhm,
The timing can be off, we're not ready to become a mother. A mother,
mhm.
that role is so overwhelming that
Yes,
you have to go in it, and it has to be your choice, and you have to be ready.
yes. Which leads us right to Lakota's blog. Here's her quote: "In all the ways motherhood is amazing, it can also feel like imprisonment. I looked at my husband and I told him if I ever get pregnant again, I'm having an abortion."
So Lakota has 3 children, and the first 2 were kind of easy, and then that last child, she's like, it really pushed her over the edge.
Mhm,
And I've heard that a lot, that 2
mhm,
is, like, kind of the second one will take care of the first one like they're friends, but that 3rd child, all of a sudden, the workload, I mean, the laundry, the food, and the caring, and the breastfeeding. She was breastfeeding for, like, 20 years if you think
yes.
about it, and her doctor advised her not to have another baby physically. She's a very petite woman, and we never think of that there are times in our lives where it's not healthful for us
Mhm.
to become a mother again.
Yes, yes, yes. Carlin, I loved yours.
Mhm.
I just did. I mean, from beginning to end, so powerful. My favorite quote from yours: "I know that if I hadn't been broken and sexually abused, if I hadn't been diminished by my gender, I would have never needed an abortion."
Yes, and I really reflected on this because my abortion changed my life forever.
Mhm,
I grew up in a home where that was the ultimate sin, and
mm,
I was kicked out, and that was the end of the relationship with my family, and I was 18, and I thought about, we don't when we're talking about elective abortion, we
yeah,
don't understand how most women find themselves there, and it's
mhm,
because we've never been able to develop the self-esteem and
mhm,
find our voice because we've been abused, and we've
Mhm.
been broken. We've been taught to be the second sex. So then
Yes.
when we're in a sex act with a man, how are we gonna advocate for ourselves and advocate for birth control and say no? We
Mhm.
or say yes with limitations. We have no idea. So it's all overwhelming and it just happens. And then we're pregnant and we have to bear that consequence.
Yes. 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 Then there's mine. I've never been pregnant, so I never had to make the difficult decision to end a pregnancy, but I was always glad that I had that choice.
I love this about you, Laura, because you were saying how just Roe v. Wade being on the books, like that being law, built up your self-esteem and your
Mhm.
sense of your own personal value as a woman.
Mhm.
And that's the thing when we say, "Hey, personhood, as a woman, that fetus has more rights than you at a certain point," right?
Mhm.
Which in 20 states now there's absolute bans. So from the moment you're pregnant, the fetus comes first. Um, what that does to our psyche.
Right, right. What it does to my psyche even now as a 66-year-old woman, even though I am not able to bear a child, it still does something to my psyche.
I've never been so happy to be a menopausal woman,
Right.
but I find myself, and I'm gonna promise I'm not gonna cry, but I will. When I see young women walking past me on the street, it's like my heart is breaking.
Mhm.
And I think they don't even know. They're 10, they're 13. They have no idea.
Mhm.
Because there's a moment when it hits you, when you realize that you don't have as much value
Mhm.
as a man or a boy.
Mhm.
And, oh, I remember my moment I was 10 and it broke my heart,
Yeah.
and it shaped every decision in my life from that
Mhm.
moment on.
Mhm. Yeah. The Equal Rights Amendment. I'm I'm still for it. Yeah, we need to have equal protection under the law, and we had that for a time with Roe v. Wade. We've gotta get it back.
For young women out there,
Mhm.
okay, no administration lasts forever.
Mhm.
This will pass. Get a diaphragm, buy all the Plan B you can afford on your Amazon account, solve it away, talk to your girlfriends, support each other. There are resources out there. We will get through this.
Yes.